Hi there. I get a lot of people contacting us because they're really worried about their unannounced audit coming up. Now, you know that with BRC, there are two kinds of unannounced audit programs. There's the voluntary unannounced audit program where every year your audit is unannounced. And then there's the mandatory unannounced where it's a GFSI requirement for your auditor to show up unannounced for one audit in a 3-year period. So that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be every third year, as long as it's one in a 3-year period. And it's the most difficult for very small sites. We understand you've got a small team of people, and you've usually got one person who's the most experienced in hosting an audit, and so you're worried that if you're not there, how's it going to go? Can your colleagues survive without you? And this is always the concern when you know that your unannounced audit is coming up. Well, there are a few things that you can do. So the first thing, of course, is that your certification body has to let you know in advance. So within 3 months of your last audit, if the next one is going to be the unannounced audit, they've got to tell you within 3 months of you having just had your previous audit. So they will say, you'll have your audit, and then they will say within 3 months, heads up, your next one is going to be the unannounced audit. If you're on the announced audit program with a mandatory 1 in 3 being unannounced, they've got to tell you. So you've got that advanced notice, but it's still nerve-wracking, isn't it? Because you're not sure whether your colleagues will survive if you're just not there. Now, remember that you can be prepared in a number of ways. First of all, know that your auditor needs to get into the factory within 30 minutes. So be prepared, of course, like you normally would be prepared anyway. Be prepared with, the overcoat, the mob caps, shoe size, so you can ask your CB in advance to at least let you know the likely shoe and coat size of the auditor. Unfortunately, the CB doesn't always know well in advance, so always good to be ready with the basics. Yeah, maybe a number of different shoe sizes just in case. Same thing with the coat sizes. Don't be caught embarrassed with not having the right size coat. Now, we help businesses prepare. We can provide a mock audit with a standard report, but we can also conduct a mock audit at your site where we specifically create a report linking all the relevant evidence that you've got. We will link that evidence to the relevant clause question so that your colleagues could be ready using our report. Now, obviously, you don't have to share that report with the auditor. It is simply going to be a clickable guide for your colleagues if you're not there. So, for example, any question that the auditor could ask, they simply need to say, okay, to the auditor, could you let me know which clause does this apply to, please? And they've got a clickable link that will take them to where your procedure is, where your risk assessment is, or any other such evidence that they need to show the auditor. So clickable links in the audit report. So we will kind of bring your product safety and quality management system together into a clickable report to prepare your colleagues to host that unannounced audit. But also don't forget that you could be there for them. So don't forget that you don't have to be physically on site. The audit will take place on site. They need somebody, unless, of course, you're doing a blended audit where part of the audit could be done remotely. But typically, regardless, you yourself don't have to be on site if you are able to join remotely to support your colleagues. So let's say you are on holiday somewhere, if they're able to get in touch with you, you would be able to join remotely to support, and the auditor will accept that. Of course, they'll accept that because you're there. Even if you can't join on Zoom, you can join by phone or email to support your colleagues. So remember that life these days works in many different flexible ways, and you can support the audit remotely by Zoom, telephone, email, etc. So you can still provide the support that you need. We, of course, can provide support as well for our clients. So get in touch if we can help you with the mock audit to prepare your colleagues, or just to prepare you in general, or to help you with consultancy or training support as well. All right. Thank you. Take care.